The Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969 is often regarded as humanity's greatest achievement, yet it has spurred numerous conspiracy theories suggesting it was a hoax. President Kennedy launched the Apollo program in 1961, aiming to land a man on the moon by the decade's end. This ambitious goal was realized in 1969, captivating an estimated 500 million television viewers worldwide. Despite the program's success, including the return of moon rocks and iconic photographs, skepticism emerged almost immediately. During the live broadcast, British historian A.J.P. Taylor questioned its authenticity. The hoax theory gained momentum in the 1970s with Bill Kaysing's book, We Never Went to the Moon. Kaysing, a technical writer for a NASA contractor, doubted the Apollo program's feasibility, alleging that NASA lacked the necessary technology. This skepticism persists, with polls indicating that 6 to 20% of Americans believe the moon landings were staged, despite widespread dismissal by mainstream commentators. By 1967, the Apollo program was in chaos. The tragic Apollo 1 fire claimed the lives of 3 brave astronauts, leaving a cloud of doubt hanging over NASA. Gus Grissom, one of those astronauts, was so disillusioned that he openly questioned whether we could meet Kennedy's ambitious deadline. It's hard to ignore the skepticism when you consider the technical improbabilities. Just over a year after that disaster, NASA was supposedly ready to launch a man to the moon. How did they go from near catastrophe to flawless execution in such a short time? The leap in technology required seems almost miraculous. Critics argue that it raises serious questions about the authenticity of the entire mission. Were we really ready to conquer the moon, or was it all an elaborate hoax? NASA's Apollo missions were hailed as monumental achievements, yet today, the agency admits it faces significant challenges in returning to the moon, particularly due to radiation hazards. This raises a fascinating question. How did they manage it in the 1960s and 70s? Were they truly equipped to handle those dangers, or did they overlook them? Then, there are the photographs from those missions. Conspiracy theorists point out oddities like lighting inconsistencies and identical backgrounds in different shots. Could it be that some images were manipulated? These anomalies fuel skepticism and spark debates about the authenticity of the lunar landings. As we reflect on these points, it's clear that the legacy of Apollo is as complex as the missions themselves, leaving us to wonder what really happened beyond our atmosphere. The Van Allen belts are a fascinating yet perilous region of space, filled with high radiation levels that could be lethal for astronauts. Yet, against all odds, NASA successfully navigated these treacherous zones during the Apollo missions. How did they do it? It's a question that sparks curiosity and skepticism alike. Adding to the intrigue, much of the original Apollo mission evidence has been lost or destroyed. Film footage, hardware blueprints, you name it. This has fueled conspiracy theories, suggesting that without this evidence, we can't fully examine what really happened. And then there are the mysterious deaths of key figures like Gus Grissom and NASA Safety Inspector Thomas Barron. Their untimely demises raise eyebrows and questions, leading some to wonder if there's more to the story than we've been told. The Apollo missions were monumental, but the shadows they cast are just as compelling. The idea that the Apollo moon landings were a hoax is hard to swallow when you consider the sheer scale of the operation. Thousands of engineers, scientists, and astronauts worked on the Apollo program. Keeping such a massive conspiracy under wraps would require an extraordinary level of secrecy, one that history shows is nearly impossible to maintain. Then there are the moon reflectors, left behind by Apollo astronauts. These devices are still in use today, helping scientists measure distances with incredible precision. Skeptics might suggest that unmanned probes could have placed them, but that doesn't hold up. The technology and the data we gather from those reflectors directly tie back to human presence on the moon. The evidence is clear. The Apollo missions were real, and the achievements of those brave astronauts are a testament to human ingenuity and exploration. The moon landing has sparked endless debate, especially with skeptics suggesting unmanned missions could have gathered the lunar samples. But consider this. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union had every incentive to expose a faked landing. Their silence on the matter is telling. Some argue they had economic or political reasons to keep quiet, but it raises questions about the credibility of the hoax theory. The evidence supporting the moon landing is compelling, yet the conspiracy persists, feeding our fascination with grand historical events. It's a captivating blend of science, politics, and human curiosity that keeps us questioning what we think we know.